I'm Judy Newton. I am 47 years old, married to Gregor, and I've got 2 children, Ailey and Harry. I'm a nurse, working in Edinburgh. It was the Easter weekend 2014, very normal day, beautiful sunny day. Gregor had been complaining of feeling tired for about a week, but nothing untoward. He looked physically well. Probably realised that something wasn't quite right when he cancelled golf the next day, which is a big thing for him and his relaxation. And we were all sitting in this room here, the 4 of us, and he said that he was going to go to bed early, and we were sitting watching Gogglebox. Very normal Saturday night. He went upstairs and we heard a thud on the floor above us. Luckily we were renovating our house at the time, so we didn't have carpets on the floor, so we could hear quite a loudish bang. Didn't think anything untoward, maybe thought he'd tripped, so didn't do very much really. And then maybe after a bit of time we realised that he hadn't said anything, or there was no call for help, so Harry went to look for his dad. And another couple of minutes passed by and Harry had gone up the stairs and then found Gregor in the cardiac arrest on the top floor. So Harry found his dad and called for my help. Harry had enough understanding to know that Gregor was seriously unwell. He said that he was blue and not breathing. So ran up the stairs to find Gregor lying on the landing upstairs, and at first really thinking, I couldn't understand what happened because he's such a fit and well, healthy person, to somebody looking so cyanosed. He looked very blue, he was frothing at the mouth, he clearly was in a lot of difficulty and needing immediate help. And regardless of my background as being a neuroscience nurse working in intensive care, everything goes from you. I think that's the biggest thing, is that even though you've been taught for years how to resuscitate somebody, when it's actually on your doorstep, it's a very difficult reality. I had Harry screaming. In between times, Ailey was phoning the ambulance. We had ambulance control on the phone to us as well. So I was relaying information back to them. And I also was very conscious that I needed to try and do something, but there's the reality of we're 35 miles away from an acute hospital. If we did resuscitate Gregor, there was a very high likelihood that he might be brain damaged. I knew that from my professional life. I also knew that I had 2 children and myself. So it's trying to think within such a short space of time what it is that you've got to be able to do. So I started CPR on Gregor, and at the same time I said to Harry to go and get me anybody that he could get from the hotel over the road. And so he and Ailey went over the road and got me some help. But in the meantime I started CPR. And that, and again, in itself is exceptionally daunting. I heard his ribs breaking. You're just really hoping that you can, all along you still don't know the underlying reason as to why his heart has stopped. We didn't know that Gregor had a cardiomyopathy. So there's all that underlying, what on earth can actually be wrong with him. So there's this huge amount of shock going through your body. You're trying to make sense of an absolutely catastrophic event that happened so quickly. And then the kids came back with 4 other adults from the hotel. One was a train driver and his partner, Cheryl, who we've now since met. They helped take over from CPR, and another gentleman who was a coronary care nurse, all of whom were complete strangers to us. We've never met one of the other men since then. And they've come in and taken over CPR from me, kept him resuscitated until the first responder came, who then delivered defibrillation to Gregor. The first responder came, defibrillated Gregor, and we continued CPR, and then thankfully he took a breath and his colour came back to a normal, well, certainly a more normal pinky colour. And at that point the paramedics arrived as well. It took them a couple of minutes to assess the situation, to really try and keep Gregor calm. Gregor was exceptionally frightened when he first came back. The children, of course, had heard and seen a lot, so they were very distressed upstairs. However, they'd managed to phone friends and also my sister, so that she was able to come and meet me at the hospital. And probably within about 10-15 minutes, the paramedic had been in touch with the Royal Infirmary, discussed as to where they were going to transfer, how quickly we were going to transfer Gregor up to hospital. He didn't need to be intubated, which was a good thing. He'd recovered so well from his defibrillation. His heart still wasn't in a normal rhythm. However, they felt that they were able to transfer him safely, and I went in the back of the ambulance with him. There was a police escort taking him up to Edinburgh, and a friend came and took the children, which was a great relief for me to know that they were going to be okay. But again, and in a way, maybe it was quite nice that they passed their dad on the stairs going down. They could see that certainly he was alive. He maybe wasn't 100%, but it wasn't as catastrophic as we'd first initially had thought. And then we started what seemed an endlessly long journey up to the hospital, even though we were going at some speed. Gregor had another slight blip in the ambulance where we had to stop the ambulance on the A1. Again, just to stabilise him a little bit more, and got him up into resus at the Royal Infirmary. And then they transferred him up into coronary care. And through all of that process, the reality of, my goodness, something serious is happening here. If it happens again, you know, have I got enough strength and ability to help her to do this? But the more you get closer, the more that you got into the hospital, you realise there was a huge amount of professionals around who were able to give a lot of reassurance that he was in the right place. He was hooked up to lots of different machines, and received excellent care up in hospital. But it was exceptionally frightening to be on that receiving end as well. You just don't know what's round the corner. I didn't know if it was going to happen again, if he was going to die. So a very long night was ahead of us.